Hello and welcome back. It's day 11 of 12 days of anime, and today I want to talk about a very important or a very big topic to me personally, which is what I consider to be the anime of 2018, the best anime of the year. And of course it's going to be very subjective, and it's only really going to include the anime that I've seen because, well, I can't really judge an anime I haven't watched. So without further ado, let's just get right into this topic because I have been looking forward to this topic for quite a while. Now, there were quite a few nominees for anime of the year in my opinion. Like you had Hinamatsuri, you had obviously continuing series like My Hero Academia that you could probably consider to be very good this year, but I didn't really want to go with a continuing series. Plus this one that I'm really going to talk about definitely outshines My Hero Academia's third season quite a bit in my opinion, and I think a lot of people, especially if you've seen this anime, will be able to see why. Anime of the year in my opinion is A Place Further Than the Universe. I did mention a moment in one of my previous videos which was from this anime, and honestly that moment is quite a big moment in the show. However, it's definitely not the only good moment. I mean, through and through, this anime is just perfect in my opinion. It did what a lot of anime fails to do, which is to stand out, because in the modern sort of era of anime, you don't really have a lot of room to really stand out and do something different, something that other anime don't do as well. I mean, a lot of the time you're gonna find that this anime did this, but the question is, was that something that's big enough to really overshadow all of the other anime that came out this year? And I think A Place Further Than the Universe really managed to really pull that off in its own way. I mean, it's certainly not the best anime of all time, although in my personal opinion it certainly managed to become one of my favorite anime of all time. But whether it's the best one, well, who knows. So let's talk about why I think this was so good. Now, this anime is about a couple of girls who plan to go to Antarctica because they want to experience an adventure. Well, one of the girls, she really needs something to do before she finishes high school. That's really the main objective that she's having starting from episode 1. She really wants to do something before she finishes high school. And, you know, she's in her second year and nothing has really happened. So she feels like she needs to really start doing something before it's too late. And then you have this other girl, which you could argue is kind of the main girl in a sense. But at the end of the day, it's not really the character that you really get introduced to first. And that is Shirase, who is the one who really picks the location they're going to. She's really the one who decides, you know, or the one who comes up with the idea that they should go to Antarctica because she has something to do in Antarctica specifically. She needs to go specifically to that place because there's something she has to do or has to confirm, which is the life or death of her mother. She wants to find out whether her mother is alive, so she needs to go into Antarctica to find out. Of course, she is clinging on to the hope that her mother is still alive somehow, even though she's been missing for years in Antarctica all alone. But she wants to find out, and so her main objective in life at that point is really to get to Antarctica no matter what and find out, you know, is she alive or not. And that's really one of the biggest points in this anime. It's really focusing around the idea that they have to get to Antarctica to find out exactly what happened to her and whether, you know, she's alive or not. Now, that's only her character really, but at the end of the day, she's a very important character. So it's not something you can just neglect and say, oh well, that's just her character's goal, because at the end of the day, it has major impact on the show. You also have two other girls. You have Hinata, who is, I mean, she is basically not really someone that has a huge objective going to Antarctica along with the other ones, but she does follow along, and even she gets some interesting developments throughout the show's runtime. Like at one point while they're in Antarctica and they get calls from Japan, we actually find out that Hinata has some really interesting, in their own right, friends who actually call her, and Hinata actually kind of breaks emotionally because these aren't really people that she would consider to be her friends, because at the end of the day they were really mean to her back in school, which is the reason why she kind of, well, ditched school, to be honest. So we really get some impactful development on her end, and we get to see how all the other girls are really reacting and standing up for Hinata during that episode. And then you have the fourth girl, who I don't actually remember the name of, but she's basically a teen celebrity, and you know, she is kind of one of the key characters because without her they wouldn't really be getting to Antarctica Antarctica in the first place. She is the one who's originally or initially kind of having a secured spot getting to Antarctica, but these other girls, they somehow managed to be able to follow along through some scheming and some planning, you know. And I think while her character isn't the most focused one, she certainly has moments in the show where you really get attached and you really feel for her. Like at one point she is actually kind of breaking down because she hasn't really understood the idea of what a friend is, you know. She's not really lived the life of your ordinary teenage girl because of this celebrity sort of life that she's having, and you really get to see that how she's actually not familiar with how friendship really functions. And that is something that I really found to be amazing in this show, how they really depict that perfectly, and they manage to kind of make the other girls really show her exactly what it is to be friends. Now, one character, of course, as I said, Shirase, she is, while not the center of attention because that is Tamaki, but Shirase, she is the best character without a doubt, simply because of how the show really centers around her goal to find her mother. And episode 12 is definitely my favorite episode, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. It is the same moment I mentioned in a previous video when I had my top 5 anime moments of 2018, and it is the moment when she finds her mother's email account and she is able to see how all of her previous emails to her mother are just flooding in from all the past years that she's been missing. And you know, we're talking like hundreds and thousands of emails of Shirase sending them to her mother, you know, trying to reach out to her, communicate with her. But it is at that point that you really find out that her mother is in fact not quite alive, or maybe she is, but she hasn't really seen all of these messages that Shira's been trying to call out to her, and that is something that really got to me. Now personally, I don't really tear up watching anime, but you know, from the inside and on the inside, I definitely felt an emotional spark, and that is something that I think makes the show so beautiful. I mean, well, that and the fact that it is made by Madhouse, so obviously it's aesthetically beautiful as well. Like the art style and the artwork in this show and the animation is just absolutely spot on in A Place Further Than the Universe. Anyway, that has been day 11 of 12 days of anime. I hope you liked it. I would love to know what you think was the best anime of 2018. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the final day, day 12 out of 12 of 12 days of anime.